Hi Arun. So we'll start up with the yesterday we have started up like what are the advantages, right, of SAP?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I want to just take you down through the course content. Basically, what all I'm going to cover. So it will give you a clear idea like
Okay.
what all topics we are going to cover and where you'll be standing after the SAP basis training. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Just give me a moment. Let me put out the course contents which I have prepared. So basically, first of all, I will run you through what is SAP and what are the advantages of SAP. Then I will just take you throughout, like what is basis activity, like what you do as a basis consultant, and what are the roles and responsibilities of basis consultant. Is that fine for today?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So, like, let me just walk you through the advantages of SAP. As yesterday I have informed, said, like, SAP derive probably the definition people call it as systems, applications, and products in for data processing. Okay, this is the
Okay.
basic definition of SAP. But whenever you spell SAP, you should spell it as SAP, not SAP.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because this is one of the main concern when anyone is interviewing, like, people seriously concentrate on this part. Some
Yeah.
of the functional consultants come and say, they say it is SAP, but all of a sudden again they might question back, is it SAP? No, it is SAP. Always you need to define, or always you need to specify, it is SAP. It's nothing but systems, applications, products in for data processing. So can you just take down the notes? Like I will give you the quick advantages of SAP.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Advantages basically see here SAP is an operating systems independent. Basically, this is a client server technology software which we can install on any of the operating systems,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
It can be of Windows, it can be of Linux. In Linux, we have different flavors like Red Hat Linux, SUSE Linux, and if we
Okay.
take Unix, we have HP Unix, Solaris, and we have AIX. So any flavor, any operating system, any server you can install. It is that's why it is called operating systems independent.
Okay.
And second advantage is that it is database independent again. It can be installed on any of the databases, like it can be of Oracle, or it can be of DB2, it can be of MS SQL, it can be of MaxDB. We have various databases which is very much compatible for SAP. The only difference will be here is a kernel actually. Once you install SAP on Windows and MS SQL, SAP releases a kernel patch, which because kernel is nothing but it is an interface between your OS and your software application,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So basically, we in short we'll say it as operating system independent, database
Mm-hmm.
independent, and it is
Yeah.
kernel dependent. We call
Kernel
it as a
dependent.
kernel dependent, right?
Yeah.
And now third one I can say it is SAP supports groups concept as well. Whereas we have ABAP. ABAP is nothing but Advanced Basic Application Programming, and Java,
Okay.
we have Java engines in SAP.
Okay.
In earlier versions, if we take 4.6, 4.6C, 4.6, I will just let you know what are the versions we have. Then let me
Yeah.
just walk you through the advantages. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have even SAP supports object-oriented programming, structured languages, and all. And
Okay.
one more thing is that it's an integration between modules. Basically, I want to just make you very pretty clear, stating that integration between modules in the sense we have multiple modules. Why we call it as an ERP in the sense we have HR, we have
Okay.
finance, we have marketing. So this considering all these, only one entry point data will be done. Whenever there is an new employee is joining in the organization, probably,
Yeah.
you know, initially the recruitment team takes the data, right?
Right. Right.
This is a guy we are going to take him. So once they confirm and they're recruited, HR
Mm-hmm.
basically makes a data, probably employee name, employee ID, rest of the other details of employee. So
Right.
now certainly it should follow to the probably is an IT guy who has been recruited. The data need to be followed. It need to be updated in IT thing, and it need to be updated in finance for his salaries, and simultaneously in project teams. There are different modules, right?
Right.
So in SAP, what happens is once you enter data at the point of joining, so it is that's why we call it as an one point entry. If you take rest of
Okay.
the ERP technologies, you need to make entries in each and every module wise.
Mm-hmm.
If you take PeopleSoft and Oracle, right? We have
Yeah.
e-business suite for Oracle, right?
Right. Right.
So if they would really want to integrate, like what happens here is they need to make entries couple of times thrice. It depends upon the models what the client has implemented. So it
Right.
is here in SAP. It's always clear that once you enter the data, this is reflecting in every other module, every other department. Basically, what we say. But in
Okay.
SAP, each we call finance as one module, HR as one module, marketing as one module.
Yeah.
Likewise, we call we have marketing, production management. If it's an manufacturing country,
Mm-hmm.
I mean manufacturing company, so we have
Right.
production over there. So depending upon the scenarios, this all will be multiple entries need to be made if it's other than SAP. But in SAP, it is pretty clear. It is one point entry.
Okay.
The main benefits over here is we call it as a single entry point for information,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Simultaneous processing of inputs from various users.
Okay.
Okay, automatic updating of the database happens here itself. Once you enter the data from HR point of view, the database will be
Okay.
updated because if once we are talking about the architecture, so I can
Yeah.
again come back and explain you exactly what is this, how the database is updating, how R3 process flow is there. So you will have a
Okay.
clear point of view how the things happens in SAP technical level,
Okay.
right?
Right.
And here you have operational aspects like financial and management are satisfied simultaneously. Like you have, because the common database involves the integrity of data here. Why? One of
Mm-hmm.
the main advantages is integration. So whenever any interviewer asks you guys like, what is the main advantage of SAP? Straightforwardly we say integration, because we have multiple modules in the system, whereas each module is integrated internally between, and it communicates internally between the modules.
Okay.
Okay, and here we have single GUI which is called as a presentation layer. Usually whenever
Okay.
we are connecting to our R3 database or R3 system, from there to database,
Right.
it's a three-layer system. Basically, SAP is a three-layer system. One is application
Okay.
server.
Okay.
Uh, First is your presentation layer. That is nothing but graphical user interface we call. In
Okay.
SAP, we call it as SAP GUI, graphical user
SAP. Okay.
interface. And
Mm-hmm.
the second layer will be your application layer, which is your R3 system. And third layer will be your
Okay.
database. It can be of any database,
Okay.
Oracle, DB2, XDB. So this is how it has been defined. That's why we call it as R3,
Okay.
right?
Right.
And security level, we have it as a role-based security. In system
Mm-hmm.
itself, we define the security levels. If one particular user, if an user is using the system and is
Okay.
doing some work, or he is particularly designed to work on financial module or he's a finance guy. So
Right.
we allocate the roles which are related to finance itself. We will not allocate the other roles. So depending upon the requirement, probably manager will be having higher authorities, right? So
Right.
depending on that, we provide the security.
Mhm.
That's why we call it a field level security,
Okay.
right? And SAP always supports internet, intranet, and all web-based protocols. There is nothing like SAP doesn't support any sort of protocol, any sort of interface. It supports everything. This is one of the major advantage of SAP,
Okay.
and it supports all languages. It is Unicode supporting. It has 90,000 characters. It supports every time zone, every ledger zone, every language based
What
upon
about
your.
yeah, this part of the world, the Arabic?
Yeah, it supports Arabic as well. It is
Okay.
there. Arabic is there in SAP.
Mm.
The only thing is that, see, by default, when you install a system, you get
Mhm.
English, and default,
Okay.
because it's a German-based product, we get German.
Okay.
Okay, if at all we want to, use it in Arabic, if you want to use it in some other language, we need to just install a very small part of configuration will be there. We need to do that
Okay.
configuration by installing the package. So it supports,
Okay.
it starts, you know, supporting that language as well. Any data
Okay.
entry can be done in that language.
Okay.
And
Uh,
the ninth
Basically,
advantage is,
like uh,
yeah,
one small
go ahead,
question.
please.
Uh, Basically, supposing we want the data to be in English, but only the screen GUI interface to be in, let's say, Arabic. Is that also possible?
Yeah, that's possible. See, that's what I'm saying. In GUI, if you take GUI, the entries will be nothing like, it will be in English. Because
Yeah.
in GUI, what happens is you have only your system unique ID, which will be of 3 characters. It is called SID.
Okay.
Okay, if you have production, for example, we call it as in Oracle, we give SIDs, right? While installing
Right. Right.
Oracle and all.
Yeah.
The same here, we have SID for dev based upon the configuration and requirement of the client. We define the SIDs. For example, for development system, we keep it as DEB, dev. For QA,
Okay.
QAS, quality system,
Okay.
production PRD.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's a unique identification, right, for the system.
Right.
So we always keep it as per the requirement of the client. So in GI, you have this SID and the host name, probably, the host name of that particular system. And you have a
Okay.
unique number which is being identified for the instance that is of 2 digits. It can be from 00 to 99. We will never use 99 port because it has been allocated for SAP to log in at any point of time if we have issues in the system,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So from you have 00 to 98. So 98
Okay.
systems, 99 systems can be installed. 99 instances can be installed on one system. Probably if you want to integrate again more than 99, you can also do that by, manipulating some service files and all that can be done.
Okay.
So again, one is rich set of modules. Rich set of modules in the sense we have 3,200 components in SAP, right? For we call R3 system. We
Right.
have finance, we have marketing, we have HR, we have production management, and SAP released customer specific components. Like if there is a retail customer, he has IS retail. If he's a hospital service customer, he has ISH component. If he's a medical based, he has ISM. Likewise, he has released, because here SAP releases software with the templates, because it's almost everything is available and it is an template system ready to use. But in
Okay.
case if anything you want to change or if you want to customize, it can be done very easily by copying the exist programs instead of manipulating the existing programs. We just take a copy of the existing programs and we do some sort of customizing to
Okay.
uh, match our business requirement.
Right.
So this is one of the major advantage of SAP.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime if there is a production system, 7
Yeah.
24/7 365 days SAP is available to support our production systems. If
Okay.
there is any major scenario, like major issue in the system,
Mm-hmm.
uh, for
Right.
example, finance reports are not running due to some of the issue in the system. So SAP
Mm-hmm.
immediately logs into your system and identifies the issue and tries to fix the issue. So
Okay.
24/7, 365 days, they are available for any
Mm-hmm.
bugs have been identified in the system. They are ready to rectify, right?
Yeah.
And
So
as I said,
how is
industries
this?
are sorry.
Uh, this support system are licensed, right?
Yeah, on license.
Uh,
Basically, we whenever we are installing a system, we buy
yeah.
software from the SAP. Once we buy, we get an marketplace IDs with everything. So initially, let me come to the roles of basis people. So you will have clear idea what basis consultants will do.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
initially, because basis consultant will be there from the initial part of the project till the implementation completes, and he follows with the support. He is the
Right.
first guy to enter and he is the last guy to come out of the project, basically.
Okay. So he'll be throughout the
And
project.
sorry, go ahead, come again, please.
Either the basis consultant will be throughout the project, and
Yeah,
even for
because
support he will be.
right, he is the person who implements, basically who will be there with the client and with other higher authorities to decide your hardware. Basically, any client, he could be of a new client is implementing SAP for an example, right?
Okay.
He need to be
Right.
there with the client to decide. Probably client will be deciding the cost part, but you will just suggest like what database will be the much advantage and what is the OS it could be of more advantage of depending upon the customer transactions. Basically, if he's a big customer and is having huge database like 2 TB, 3 TB, it may go much faster. So we
Right.
always prefer Unix platform, right? Because Windows is not much
Right.
dependable compared with Linux or Unix. So this all we decide depending upon the client requirement. So
Mm-hmm.
once it is done, again, he is the person who installs the system and who configures
Okay.
everything for the functional consultants to proceed with. And functional consultants comes into the picture once the system is installed. Whereas even SAP security people comes into the picture once the system is installed to allocate the relevant roles and assign
Mm-hmm.
it to the particular users. So
Okay.
that is one thing.
So this basis consultant, and then you have separate security also for that. Is it
Yeah, separate, right? Separate security.
separate security is separate? Huh?
Security is separate. Because in some of the companies, what people require is that the basic security, properly security role generation of roles, depending upon the requirement of the client, that will be a major task during the implementation. Once it is done properly, people may ask to people may ask basis consultants to at least take care of security. If there is no major part of you know generating roles or creating roles, then probably basis guys can do a simple security things. But whereas if they want to manipulate when and where it is required, obviously client even suggests to have a security consultant.
Okay.
So here, one more advantage is we have exchange infrastructure to communicate with various legacy systems. Here what happens is, for example, I can take example of some manufacturing industry of textiles, right?
Okay.
What happens is you have your R3 system where entire your business data will be there, but the
Mm-hmm.
orders which are coming from outside, your SAP system should understand the orders. Probably client may be using Java with Oracle, or probably some other you know other software, but SAP
Right.
need to understand how the data is being flowed, and
Mm-hmm.
it should be, when SAP need to understand, it should be in SAP understandable language, right? If it is from some other
Right.
database or some other software, you won't be able to understand.
Right.
So SAP has introduced a component called Exchange Infrastructure. Earlier it was called XI, it is Exchange Infrastructure.
Okay.
Now it has been renamed as PI, Process Integration. So whenever the
Okay.
data comes using the communication channels, this is XI function consultant will be doing this mapping and all. So that particular
Okay.
channel to that particular provider, function consultant will map the data to your R3 system. So it will
Okay.
be coming in the understandable format to R3 system, and it
Okay.
process in R3 system, and again it provides back to the PI system. From PI again it pushes to the understandable language of that software,
Okay.
legacy software which other your customer is using.
Okay.
So these are all process of network. Once we reach to that topic, we'll have a clear discussion on that. Probably just advantage I'm giving you, each and everything will be discussed very clearly when we get to the topics,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Here, one is integration and behavior. As I said, SAP works in an integrated manner. What happens is it facilitates the activities of various areas. As I said, you have controlling models like finance, you have material management, you have sales and distribution, you have production planning. One major advantage is integration. Okay,
Okay.
and it provides various components like MDM, which is master data management.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas what happens over here is SAP hardly some 3 years back has come up with this component. You have multiple components like R3, BI, PI, and other systems like SRM, CRM, which is full-fledgedly being used by the customers all over the world. So what happens is here components, if you enter any data in R3 system, you have multiple models, so it takes
Right.
up everything. One point entry will be done, but the same data, if it is required in PI system, that is other system,
Okay.
right? And if the same data is required in PI system, if the same system
Mm-hmm.
required in your CRM, if it is same, it requires in SRM. SAP has
Okay.
introduced a component which is called
Uh,
MDM. It is Master
Hello,
Data
Kiran, you have
Management.
any PPTs?
Okay.
Only one point of contact.
Hello.
Again, if we enter
Yeah,
in
Kiran, you have
MDM,
any PPTs?
data can
Mm-hmm.
be pulled into
Okay.
these respective components, like
Okay.
respective systems, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So that is one of the major advantages of the tool,
Okay.
and these are the basic advantages of SAP. And let me just explain you what are the roles and responsibilities of a basis consultant will be.
Okay.
Can you just break down like what are the basic roles and responsibilities? Because
Sure.
whenever you are at interview or something, people will be asking. You have people is right now haven't prepared. No, Venkat. As I said, like I need to just prepare all these things. Probably the thing is that the major part, like if they take it and if I just ask them to take the notes, if they take it, it will be really advantage for them. Once they have a look at this, it will be helpful in the interviews. Okay, Arun?
Yeah, sure. Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. See, basic role will be you will be communicating with customer, hardware vendor, implementation partner. Like if you take customer, for the customer who are going to implement the software,
Mm-hmm.
implement SAP, and hardware vendors can be, if it is Unix, it can be HP Unix, IBM. You have recently Cisco has entered into the market. You have Fujitsu,
Okay.
right? If it is
Right.
Windows, you go to the Microsoft.
Right.
So you'll be the main person if you are working in an implementation team. You'll be one of the
Mm-hmm.
major guy who will be discussing uh, with customer and deciding on the hardware. So certainly you
Right.
need to get the codes from the hardware vendor, and you need to
Mm-hmm.
decide upon uh, the way of transactions the customer is going to do probably. The way his business grows. Depending upon that, you are going to decide. You are the one of the guy who is going to decide on the hardware.
Okay.
Second is you are going to interact with SAP to obtain the software. You are the main person. Once client decided he need to
Right.
implement this component in his environment, you are the person going to interact with SAP. Probably simultaneously, client will be having one contract owner because he is the one who signs the contract with SAP from client side.
Right.
But to
Right.
obtaining software and all, you are the person who is going to be uh, decide what are the components which has been decided by the client. You are going to get the software, you are going to download from the marketplace, SAP
Okay.
marketplace, and the next will be installation of SAP product on particular specific OS and database. So
Okay.
there are installation procedures which we follow to implement any of the component. Like probably any client, if he's going to implement SAP, is going to implement R3. Earlier it is called R3. Now it is we call ECC, and version is
Easy.
6. It is nothing but enterprise core component.
Enterprise
This is the system core component.
core company. Okay.
Yeah. This is the system where every business is going to enter the data of their business,
Okay.
where we have multiple modules like finance, HR,
Mm-hmm.
marketing, production planning, controlling,
Okay.
like this every module. IS retail, ISH, which is IHS, it is hospital specific services,
Okay.
right?
Uh,
And we perform post ins. Once we have done with the installation part, you are the person who is going to do the post installation activities.
Okay.
Post installation activities in the sense we have major post installation activities which need to be performed by the business people. Probably you need to set the memory parameters to run your system smoothly depending upon the flow of the transactions of the client, and you need to
Mm-hmm.
configure transport management system, right?
Okay.
This is one
So
of the major thing and major part of SAP. For moving changes, we have something called transport management system.
okay. What is this actually?
Um,
Transport management.
right. See, whenever we install a development system,
Mhm.
simultaneously we develop our objects. As I said, every SAP system will be released with templates, and
Yeah.
to map our business requirement, probably some of the tables need to be modified, and they will be modified. So this development work will be carried in the development system,
Okay.
right? This development will be done by the functional consultants. So we are nowhere worried about the development part because this entire thing will be taken care by functional consultants.
Okay.
And simultaneously, what happens is here we uh, install quality and we install
Mhm.
production also. What happens here? They have developed some objects, right? Probably some
Okay.
tables, maybe one or two tables might be modified here. These
Okay.
changes need to be carried out to your quality system. How do we do?
Okay.
And the same changes, once testing has been completed and they were successfully tested, the changes need to be moved to the production.
right,
All right. Here, small at field level, we might have done some changes. So there is no need of importing entire table from development system to quality system. So these
right,
changes will be recorded in a transport, which is called as a transport request. Whenever we do any
okay,
changes in a system, it will be recording in a
mhm,
transport, which will be, there will be particular number which is of your SID, K, and
okay,
the 5 digits of the transport number. So
okay,
the same thing, once we release it, it can be imported in your quality. Once we come to the transport management system, I will clearly explain what it does and how the flow will be, right?
okay,
So for a basic understanding, instead of moving small changes from development to quality, probably from quality to production, right?
yeah, yeah,
These
right,
transports will be used. This is the main
okay,
one of the major and main concept of SAP.
uh-huh,
And now we are the persons who are going to define SAP system landscape. Basically, landscape in the sense we have development, quality, production. This is called three system landscape. Probably the person who is there in retail, they might require four system landscape. It could be like development, quality, pre-production, and production.
okay,
And there are some people who might require sandbox, development, quality, production. What is like people want to train their end users probably on sandbox and experiment the things on sandbox. So some of the people might require. So depending upon the requirement of the client, we
mhm,
are going to define the landscape. Probably he might be having more number of end users and more training on the SAP servers. So we really need to place a sandbox over there for the training purpose. And for real business scenario activities, we install development, which is
mhm,
uh, highly required, and we install
right,
quality. Whatever the development will be done in this, the development objects will be moved to quality for
mhm,
regressive testing, unit testing, and various kinds of testing. And
okay,
certainly to run the business runs on the production system, which entire business transactions will be carried out. So
okay,
depending upon the requirement of the client, we define it as a four system landscape.
okay,
Probably minimum we always suggest to have three system landscape, which is development, quality, and production. Correct.
okay,
And we define SAP client strategy. Here, what happens is SAP is having a unique business client strategy in SAP systems. Whenever you install a system, you have development, quality, production, and here there is something called as a client administration.
okay,
Whenever you install system, you have 000 client which will be installed along with the installation, and 006 client will be there, which is for SAP to log into the system whenever there is an issue. Other than these two clients, to run your business entries, you need
mhm,
to specify one of the client and do the copy from the 000 client to the existing client. Once we come to the client administration, I will give you a very clear picture because this is very much important concept. And to understand the basic things of SAP, this client strategy and client administration is very important. Okay.
right, yeah,
And define transport mechanism, as I said, how the transports will move. This configuration need to be done by a basis consultant.
okay,
Okay.
yeah,
And what here are the more just and timely Responsibility of basis consultant is applying support packages, patches, add-ons, SAP notes. Depending
Mm-hmm.
upon the requirement, probably to some of the clients they always recommend to um, apply patches for SAP system every half yearly for every 6 months. SAP
Okay.
itself recommends to apply patches to fix your bugs of the software at
Mm-hmm.
least 4 months, at least quarter, at least
Okay.
once in a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the clients may huge customer like IS retail customer is there. He really can't uh, give system for patching more frequently.
Okay.
So he always considers 6 months. There are some clients even they doesn't even go for patching for 1 year, 1.5 year, 2 years. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing is that once you apply patches in, first you start phase wise. You apply patches in development system, then you apply
Mm-hmm.
patches in quality, then you apply patches in production.
Okay.
So once you apply in development, you need to developers will test like either patches fixing all the bugs, what all up to the patch level. The same
Mm-hmm.
thing because for patching, depending upon the number of patches, probably 6 months in the sense SAP may release tags for 2 to 3 components. So likewise, if you take R3 or ECC system, it will take at least some 12 to 14 hours for patching.
Okay.
So we don't want users to log into the system at the time. So certainly we will
Mm-hmm.
take during the weekends. So what happens here is once they install in development, testing is been done, it will be done in
Mm-hmm.
quality. The patching will be done. Right? After in patching of quality, we from a basis point of view we consider only the patching time. Probably you can say 14 hours or 15 hours. But later to that, we need to just understand because they are testers who need to test each and every application of the core business.
Right.
So this all will take at least 2 days. So that's the reason why the client or customer really don't want to give a system for patching very frequently.
Right.
So it is one of our major role is that whenever there is a requirement, we need to apply the support patches.
Mm-hmm.
Patches like we have add-ons like plugins that and all. When we come to the concept of patching, we'll discuss
Mm-hmm.
on that.
Right.
And next one is it's very basic and major role of the basis consultant, which we need to perform something called kernel upgrade. As I said, SAP is OS independent and database independent, but it is a
Right.
kernel dependent.
Right.
We have based on the release there will be a kernel, so kernel release, and we have something called patches will be released very regularly. So we need to update these kernel patches
Mm-hmm.
when and there is a requirement. Probably if there is something issue with the OS, this kernel file which is released by SAP recent files, this will fix the issue with the related OS issue. You got me right?
Okay.
What I'm trying to explain? If there is some issue with the OS, like which is where your application is running SAP application, there could be some OS related issue like we don't have Visual Basic C++ programs doesn't run. So what happens
Okay.
is this kernel SAP release kernel will be like you have DB dependent files, which is database dependent files, and DB
Okay.
independent files, which is database independent files.
Okay.
These are the two executables we need to run and extract. So this will update your kernel upgrade.
No.
Whereas your application runs based upon your kernel, if, and you always need to check because it is a dependent of your OS and it is dependent of your DB. You always
Okay.
need to check and download the correct kernel from the marketplace,
Okay.
right? And as a business consultant, you are going to work with your SAP marketplace as you asked me, right? Yeah, basically what happens is once you purchase the product license, you are the person who is going to register these systems in SAP marketplace, and you are the person who is going to register your users. Basically, um, as I said, like once you install the development system, your developers want to modify some of the objects, right, or some of the tables to match the requirement of the business.
Okay.
So to as a template, whenever they want to modify these developers need to get a key from the marketplace. This
Okay.
key will be generated depending upon your
Yeah, hello.
database, your OS,
Mm-hmm.
and the version of your
Okay.
SAP component.
Okay.
So for doing to getting this key generation, you always need to log into the system. I mean SAP marketplace, and you need to register this user, and you need to register that object, and you need to generate the keys. This all I will just walk you through, marketplace how it will be done,
Mm-hmm.
so you will have an idea. Uh,
Okay.
you can see my screen, right?
Fine. Yeah.
Arun,
Yeah.
you can see my screen, right?
Right. Right. I can.
Okay. I'll just see. This is something called service marketplace. The URL is http service.sap.com.
Okay.
Fine.
Yeah.
This is how you log in, and this is your S user ID, which is of you know 10 digit, like 7 numbers. See, this is S000 is common to any user ID, and this is one of the ID of mine.
Okay.
Here you need to generate a key. Everything major things will be to getting the keys or to get downloading the software, to the, as I said, if there is any major issue in the system,
Okay.
we are going to report a product error or something like that. Here key generations will be done like this. These are the license keys
Mm-hmm.
for obtaining a license, temporary license key.
Yeah.
The, this is something called license keys and requests. It is basically your single point of access to getting the license keys here.
Mm-hmm.
If, as I said, create system without license key. Initially, you will be creating the system over here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once you buy a product from SAP,
Mm-hmm.
probably you have decided your SID, and you have decided your system number, everything. Once you decide that you are going to create a system over here, and these are SSCR keys, which are basically called as modification keys. Here, as I said, as a business consultant, you are going to register your developer.
Okay.
Installation, once you purchase a key, they will give you an installation number. SAP will give you an installation number to your contract person,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So you just give the user ID of any person. For example, this is one of the user ID.
Okay.
I say just register. Okay, he will get registered over here, and a key will be provided for the developer.
Okay.
That key, whenever you are modifying, uh, probably I would say any object, by logging in with your user, first it will ask you for the developer key. Once if I say register, the key will be provided. The same key we will be providing to the user, and user probably for your developer. So he will keying in that developer key. Later, once the key is accepted, the next step in the system it asks you to modify, I mean, it asks the key for particular table or particular field which is trying to modify.
Mhm.
So what I will show you that as well. So here to do that, you need to register an object. Once you say that, whenever you are modifying that table field or something, you will have a program ID. You need to just
Okay.
specify ASCF, for example, and the release as I said. Now, frequently running releases, I can say 700. And program ID, it can be R3TR is nothing but it is full object. Limo, it's sub object of development environment. Language specific component. Core is comment like anything. I say full object. Now it asks you for the type. This all inputs will be provided whenever you are modifying the object in the system.
Okay.
So probably I would say order type CO PPM. Now I need to give the object name which I'm going to modify. And once I say save the attributes as default and check it
Mhm.
and register it, you will get it. So this is how actually you do the key modification and all, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Is it clear?
Yeah. Yeah. Clear.
Yeah. And probably you are the person once the systems has been installed full-fledgedly, right? Once your system is done as part of implementation project you are and you install development quality production. And now SAP need to log into your system and they need to give a green flag to run your business transactions in the system because they monitor everything from the system parameters level to from the kind of hardware you are using, the kind of product you are using. They screen everything and they give you a kind of report
Okay.
to if there are any manipulations are required. They ask you to perform these changes. So
Okay.
it's always you are the person who is going to schedule these go live changes. I mean go live sessions with SAP.
Uh-huh.
It's nothing like here you go and say helpline support.
Okay.
You just go here, report a product error.
Okay.
Here something called you have system IDs like if it is your R3 system, right?
Mhm.
And you give us some system SID. I'm just saying search. I go. These are all the systems. These are entries you are going to create. As I said earlier, you
Okay.
are the person who is going to create all this stuff.
Okay.
Just click on this, and if you want to open go live for this session, you say go live session for production system. That's it, right?
Okay.
You can see my screen, right?
Right. Right. I can see.
Yeah, I just say continue, 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 and I will raise a request to the SAP. So SAP will be able to log in without any issues, and they will screen your system
Okay. Before
and
going
they
to.
will provide the report, right? And
This
based
is
upon that
a
report,
this is a must. I mean, compulsory process
yeah, this
for the.
because if he's a new customer or if he's a probably newly implementing customer,
Right.
because they can be of two kinds, right? New customer in the sense he's very new to the business and first the software itself is using SAP in its environment.
Right. Yeah.
And there is a second kind of customer like who is on other legacy systems like probably on Java or Oracle or some other softwares.
Yeah.
He want to migrate from that software which he's using and he want to migrate to SAP,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Whenever there is a stick point like we call Once the production has been installed and system we are ready to use for production transactions, for business transactions, it's a must and compulsory thing. There will be 3 sessions held by SAP, which is go live will be go live verification. First session will be go live verification, where SAP logs in and verifies your system. And until unless you don't give green signal, we will not go ahead. Next one is go live analysis. After certain point of time, probably 2 weeks or 3 weeks from go live verification, they will again relog into the system and they will analyze the system, how the system is running. After analysis, they will give green signal again after 2 to 3 weeks. They will log in and check the system, everything is fine. Business system can go live. So then we'll run the system full-fledged on the live,
Okay.
and it is ready to run the business transactions without any issues. And then and there, if we identify any bugs and all, or any SAP patches need to be implemented, these are these are all, it's a process. I'll let you know that how the process flows whenever, because every point of time, every scenario, basis consultant is a must and is required to perform his activities actually. They're comparing with the other functional consultants. FICO guy, he will do his part and he will leave. HR person, he will do his HR functional thing, and he will, any major issue related to system or any major issue related to software component, they always get back to us, and they the anything down the line it comes to the business consultant. He is a person who is going to do everything related to availability of the system, related to the patch issues of the system. If there are any functional issue, something which is related to basis, then he need to take care. If something other than basis, but still people will not be, functional consultants will not be able to identify whether it is a functional issue or whether it is a basis issue. So down the line, even in system itself, if you have any issue, it says, please contact your administrator.
Okay.
So that's the reason why basis will be always a key person. He is a person who analyzes. Probably some people who are more experienced guys can identify this is the issue. Probably it's functional issue, and we need to take care. But there are some people who is having less experience and they say this is not my issue. But we are the person who need to analyze and say this is your issue. You need to take care of it, right?
Yeah. Right.
And end user documentation will be done by us, and probably the configuration of printers in SAP system, configuration of emails, that SMTP server, that and all will be done by us. And scheduling and monitoring of housekeeping jobs. Probably system writes n number of logs in OS level and all. So we need to schedule and monitor housekeeping jobs to delete these unwanted logs, like event log, syslog, etc. Right?
Okay. Even the database administration also comes under basis consultant.
Right, because that's what, as I said, like you are already Oracle experienced, it is very easy to pick up the things and run the SAP Basis Administrator part from your side. Actually, the thing is that probably in some companies, if it is a very big project and very large project, what happens is they ask people. They have a different DB team, different SAP team, and different OS team. But most of the tasks, like in medium projects and more than medium-sized projects, what happens is we need to take care of OS, in the sense not patching level activities or something like that. We need to just take care of hard drive sizing, probably your file system sizing, and all need to be taken care by yourself. And SAP level installation, implementation, be yourself. And DB, whenever patching comes, like as you know, like probably 10.201 you have, 10.202 you want to update to 10.204, 10.206, 10.205.
right.
Any database upgrade DB from 10 to 5 to 11G. This all will be
Right.
done by the basis consultants. We
Okay.
have cluster servers. If we need to
Mhm.
upgrade our rack systems with Oracle, this
Mhm.
all need to be taken care by basis.
Yes.
And one of the major and important component of SAP is something called like solution manager. Whenever you're installing, you are decided and you are implementing, you know, SAP for one of the client. The first system you install is Solution Manager.
Okay.
Solution Manager is something like, this is used for monitoring of our systems, other systems, right? You have R3,
Okay.
you have ECC,
Mhm.
you have PI. This all monitoring
Okay.
can be set. Earlier, what happened is a manual monitoring is being performed by the resources, like, always every 1 or 2 hours people log into the system. There are set of transactions which we execute and check whether the system is fine or not. But this
Okay.
has been a major variation in SAP is like one of the solution manager. What happens? We configure a basic alert mode, something called alert monitoring. Once we
Mhm.
configure it, the automatic alerts whenever there is a threshold, it crosses threshold. Example, I
Okay.
would say your file system is crossing 90%. I need
Mhm.
a mail and alert to be mailed to me, basically, to log in whenever there is a requirement.
Right.
So once it crosses 90%, it throws an alert to your mailbox saying that it crossed 90%. So then only you log into the system and you try to rectify it, or you try to add one more file system, something like that.
Okay.
Right? Otherwise, every day, every 1 hour, every 2 hours, you need to log into the system. What is the size of the file system? What is the size of the file system? So something called like alert monitoring has been introduced along with Solution Manager,
Okay.
and you have EWA reports, early watch reports. The name itself specifies early watch alerts, early watch alert reports. What happens is every week this report runs in the system
Mhm.
relevant to your R3, relevant to your PI, relevant to your PI. What happens
Okay.
is it always every frequent jobs will be running from this system to that system and tries to
Okay.
pull out what is happening in the system, and it reports if there are any errors or something like that.
Okay.
So based on that, we need to set the parameters. If there are any changes need to be done, even in that
Mhm.
report it shows you need to upgrade your kernel because it is old version. Probably we
Okay.
need to upgrade it. Depending upon that, we take necessary actions. It's
Okay.
basically a precautionary report, which will
Mhm.
be helpful for a business consultant to identify the issues and try to fix the issues based on that report.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
And here you are the person who is going to define the segregation of duties. Like, probably you have finance manager. What
Mhm.
is the objective? What is the functionality of that manager? Basically, you are going to
Mhm.
decide based upon the flow of transactions happening in the finance module, right? Probably
Okay.
manager is there. He need to do only these transactions. He should have all authorities over his
Yes.
employees or over his uh, people who are working under him. So he is having all authorizations, and likewise we'll define the low level, medium level, and high level employees. These people should have only this part of roles, at least to display for only display mode. Likewise, we'll define. We are the persons try to sit with the managers, like, probably you have a business contact manager who is the main person from the client, and he defines this
Mhm.
all will be done during the blueprint phase.
Okay.
So here even financial consultant will be involved. He explains the flow and we defines like, okay, this is a flow, only manager need to have this many authorizations, and
Okay.
his employee who is working under him, he should have only this many roles or responsibilities, probably roles and authorizations.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we define. We are the person who is going to see it. If any major blueprint is there, even functional consultants will be supporting us over there, right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And finally, as I said, like implementation, we are the guys who are going to install, and we are the people who are going to do version upgrades, and we are the people who are going to do migrations. So, like what happened is one of my client here, what is happening is earlier there on Windows MS SQL Server because his database size growing very faster than his
Okay.
expectations. He implemented only
Okay.
some 2.5 years back, and his database has literally gone up to 2 TB, 2 terabyte. Now
Okay.
he's seeing issues with the OS Windows, like he's having frequent issues while accessing system. So what he decided is he want to migrate that SAP version onto his AIX DB2. It is IBM AIX operating system and DB2 database.
Okay.
So even this migration, which is called is in SAP technical language, we call it as a OS DB migration, right?
Okay.
It is you are migrating your OS from Windows to AIX, IBM AIX, and you
Okay.
are migrating your DB, your database from MS SQL to your DB2,
David. Okay.
right? Even
Yeah.
this entire process will be carried out by you and by the basis consultant.
Okay.
Once the major steps like migration, upgradation,
Mm-hmm.
applying patches, this will be done by the basis, followed by the testing, regressive testing, unit testing by the
Mm-hmm.
functional consultants. When we can say this, any if you are performing any upgrade means when we can say it is successful in the sense you might be technically upgrading it, you might be technically upgrading your version of your S60 component, but the major thing is that once consultant, functional consultant, and the testing consultant defines, if, probably my future is working successfully after upgrading, then only you can say your upgrade is successful.
Okay.
And the backups concept, as you are aware in Oracle, the same concept will be implemented over here. That we'll discuss in detail when we come to the database part. Alright, so
Okay.
I guess for today we are okay. Tomorrow I will
Okay.
take you like through upgrade phase, support phase, what all major things we'll be doing. And
Okay.
once we are okay, we'll just start up with the concepts and we'll take it faster. Is
Okay.
it fine?
Yeah. Fine. Uh, uh, a small question in terms of what kind of training material will I be having in terms of for reviewing myself after the training session?
After
Okay.
this session,
Yeah, Arun, okay, I will
Yeah,
tell you, okay?
basically
I will
some
talk to you.
training materials
We are
will be
thank you for your
available.
session. Then.
in the training materials, I can just only
Okay, bye.
provide you the basic guides of SAP, probably some
Okay,
sort of, I can say, some PowerPoint presentations which I'm yet to prepare.
okay,
The only thing is that I can give you like probably Venki can help you if you need anything in detail with material and all.
okay.
So that would be fine.
Yeah, fine. Yeah. Okay, fine. Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Yes. Bye.